I really like Iceberg videos. It's so fun to learn a bunch of random and obscure facts for a topic you might not even care about. I tend to put them on as background noise for when I'm, working on art or art type stuff. So I thought it would be fun if I made my own Iceberg video, but like an art-related one, since I can't seem to find a lot of art Iceberg videos, and I don't think there are a lot out there, so I thought I would take, a shot at making my own. I made this iceberg with 3 tiers: the beginner tier, the intermediate tier, and the professional tier. The items in each tier correspond to the level of, artist, meaning, they're things I tend to see or associate with that level of an artist. It doesn't mean it's, completely exclusive to that level, though. For instance, a beginner could be using a software mentioned in the professional tier, or a professional could be doing something mentioned in the beginner tier. Art is a very wide medium thing. There's a lot of artists out there, so there's always going to be someone doing something, even if it's, maybe not something you would normally see. I have no idea if I'm making sense, but yeah. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's get into this iceberg. First up, we have the beginner tier. Beginner artists are artists that are, beginners. They might just be starting, or they might just be, artists who just dabble in the craft a bit. They don't do it all the time. They don't practice a lot. They just do it for fun. There's nothing wrong with being a beginning artist. We all have different levels, and as long as art makes you happy, then more power to you. It doesn't matter what level you're at, as long as you have fun with it. Alright, so let's go. First up in tier 1 is notebook drawings. Notebook drawings are generally pencil drawings done in a ruled notebook, like one you might use or see in a school type environment. A lot of beginners use notebook paper because it's the only paper they have and they want to draw, but maybe they don't have a sketchbook or, a lot of stuff to work with, so they just grab the nearest paper they have and start drawing in it. Alright, next up is the number 2 pencil. This pencil is the most common type of pencil you'll see, so you tend to see a lot of beginning artists use them to draw with and stuff. That's all I have to say about that. There's not a lot to say. A lot of beginner artists use them. Next up is phone and finger. This refers to, drawing on your phone with your finger. It might sound kind of weird, but it's, just referring to how people who want to get into digital art might not have a tablet or a pen or a drawing tablet, or I just said tablet already, but they might not have all of the stuff you need to do digital art, so they just use their phone and a finger to draw with. It works. This can work. It's not the easiest way to do digital art, and there are a lot better ways, but, if you can't afford a pen or you just don't have one, it works. Tracing. Ooh, this is a spicy one. Sometimes you'll see an artist post some fan art they did that was clearly traced off of, someone else's art, or maybe an official render for, a character or something. If you want to practice drawing by tracing, that's, totally fine. You just can't go claiming it's your own art, because technically that's art theft, and art theft is not good. I mean, it has theft in the name. Even if you're not maliciously tracing, it's still kind of considered theft. But, if you take your own sketch and, take a picture of it and then trace over it, that's technically, I wouldn't even count that as tracing, because it's your own drawing, and like you're kind of just using it as a sketch, because I mean it's a sketch, so that's totally cool. But yeah, don't trace. I mean, you can trace, I already said that. Just don't claim it's your own unless it is your own, if that makes sense. I'm gonna stop now. I should really stop now. Anatomy and fundamental struggles. A lot of beginner art has very, let's just say, messy anatomy. This is pretty normal and is definitely part of the learning process. Because anatomy is a very hard thing to do. There's a lot of weird curves and angles and layers to it. It's not easy to learn. It's taken me pretty much my whole life to like get to the point I'm at, because I've done art for a really long time, and it's just taken a lot of practice over and over again to, you know, actually get good at it. So the more hands, faces, bodies, legs, whatever you draw, the better, you know, the more of those you draw, the better you'll get at them. So just don't quit, keep it up, like it improves, you'll improve over time. And you know what, there's nothing wrong with bad anatomy, it doesn't, if you want to make your anatomy better, just keep practicing. Art style. Lots of beginning artists seem to focus on finding their art style, but it's not the most important thing out there. And art style is honestly how you draw or see something. Like, the way you might see a hand, the way you draw is how you interpret a hand, or how you see it, or whatever. Every artist has an art style, whether they think they do or not, because, you know, everything you draw is in your own unique style, because it's your own unique interpretation of that thing. So everyone has an art style, and most artists don't find their art style, they just draw things how they see them, or how they think about them, or how they interpret them, whatever. You don't need to get an art style. You don't need to do specific exercises to get an art style. Just draw things how you want to draw them, and if that's in like an angular style or a soft style or whatever, that's cool. That's totally cool. Just don't feel that you have to go find it, because you already have one. IBIS Paint? Ibis Paint? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyways, Ibis Paint, or Ibis Paint X, is a digital art app released on August 1st of 2011. Due to it being easily accessible and free, it has been downloaded millions of times and is really popular to this day. A lot of people who do art on their phones and stuff use this app because it's free and just really easy to use. When I was more of a beginner at digital art, I used this app, and I've come a long way since then, which is really cool. But you know, Ibis Paint is really good for beginners and heck, even higher level artists. Like, it's a good app. It gets updated still, and there's lots of tutorials out on YouTube for it. So if you're interested, like, maybe go look at some of those. Tutorials. You want to learn how to draw something? There's a tutorial for that. Want to learn how to design your own character? Boom, tutorial. Basically, if you want to learn how to do something art related, there's probably a tutorial out there. Like, if you can think of it, it's out there. Similar to something else, but we're not gonna get into that. No, I'm not even touching that. How to draw books. You know those, like, how to draw anime books? Actually, there was a art challenge going around last year where it was, you redraw the how to draw anime character on the front. Heck, I actually did that. I think it's on my channel somewhere. But they're, like, the ones that they teach you how to draw really, really specific things and kind of don't do it super well, if I'm being honest. Like, they'll show you how to draw maybe a specific pose or a very, very, very specific character, which, I mean, it's fine if that's what you want to draw. It's not the best way to learn, and A lot of times the art in the books is not the greatest, and one of the biggest problem with those books is they're not teaching you like the fundamentals of building anatomy or other drawing related stuff, because they're just focusing on, you want to draw anime, here's an anime girl, go draw it. That's about it, and it's not the best. So there's a lot of better drawing books out there for you. Go do some research. You'll find some, I'm sure you can find some good ones that actually teach you some useful things. Color struggles. Lots of beginner artists struggle when it comes to selecting colors for their art. These struggles are often like selecting too many colors, not enough contrast in the colors that are too bright, stuff like that. If you want to improve your coloring, I really, really recommend like watching maybe some videos on color theory and doing some research into color theory, because, selecting colors, it has a lot to do with color theory. So I totally recommend looking up some videos or, whatever, just learn about our color theory. I'll link some videos down below so that, if you're interested, you can go watch them and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe it'll help you out. All right, and for the last one on this tier, we have hobby. Lots of people simply draw as a hobby. They might not be the greatest artists out there, but they really, really enjoy it. And honestly, with art, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a professional artist. Like, if you do it as just a hobby and you enjoy it, that is great. Like, you don't have to be anything. You can just do it. It's so fun. That's the beauty of art. There's so much possibility in it, and like, it's so freeing, and it can be a career or it could just be something you do for fun. It's really cool like that. Alright, we're here at tier 2, which is the intermediate level tier thing, whatever. Intermediate artists are artists that have a bit more experience under their belt. They've been doing art for a few years, they've maybe taken some classes, learned some stuff, so they're better at art, but that doesn't mean they're perfect. They still struggle in their own ways and stuff. And I personally would consider myself an intermediate artist. I've been doing this for a while, but I'm still got a lot to learn. So yeah, let's get into this. The first one we have on tier 2 is sketchbooks. Sketchbooks are books you sketch in. A lot of people do sketchbook tours on YouTube, which is pretty cool, because like you can see how like nice they make their sketchbooks. Like, they put stickers on the front, and they have like themes for their sketchbooks, and they do cool stuff with them. I've never done a sketchbook tour. I don't know if I will ever do one, because my sketchbooks are a mess, and sometimes the drawings in them are weird. I gotta flip my notebook because I wrote this on paper. Okay. Next up, we have Procreate. I love Procreate. Procreate is an Apple-exclusive digital art app released on March 16th of 2011. Seems like a lot of the big art apps came out in 2011. Anyways, Procreate is easy to use and accessible to both beginners and professionals. It's really high quality. They update it yearly with like a big yearly update. It has a lot of very professional grade tools. You can export to Photoshop. You can animate in it. There's like, you can make a PNG file with like multiple layers, I think it is. I don't remember. But it's really cool, and there's a lot you can do in it. It does cost $10 in the US, but I guarantee, I'm not lying when I say that price tag is 100% worth it. It's so good. Go try Procreate if you're interested. You probably won't regret it, because it's really fun and really easy to use. Alright, next up we have Grasp of Fundamentals. Intermediate artists generally have a pretty good grasp on the fundamentals of art and anatomy. Like, they'll make Their anatomy tends to be pretty solid, maybe not perfect, but like it's not too off. It's not too off. I don't know what. I'm so bad at talking. Oh my gosh. It's okay. Their anatomy it's better. It's good anatomy. Like you can tell what it's supposed to be, and like, you know, it's pretty solid, but it's not perfect. There's still a lot of room for like improvement and stuff, but at this point they are doing pretty good with the fundamentals and anatomy and all that stuff. Twitter/Instagram artists. A lot of artists you see on these sites would likely be considered intermediate in terms of their art skills. Their art stands very strongly on its own, but a lot of times it's, you know, there's a lot of room for improvement with it. But like, really, you should really give some of these artists a follow, like especially if you really like their art, because a lot of times you will see like significant growth over like, you know, a couple years or something, and it's kind of cool to see like an artist evolve their art journey. So I totally recommend giving some a follow, especially if you find an artist you really like. I have an Instagram if you want to go follow it. Link in the description. Commissions. When someone who's not an artist wants some art, you know what they do? They hand an artist some money and say, "Draw me this." And this is the process of commissions. And it's one of the few ways that artists can make some extra money on the side. Yeah. Drawing tablet/pen displays. Drawing tablets allow artists to draw using a PC or a laptop as opposed to a phone or an iPad. Drawing tablets have no screen and simply act as a paper to draw on, whereas pen displays have the same function as drawing tablets but also act as a secondary monitor. Displays tend to be a lot more expensive, so if you're on a budget, maybe stick to like a more basic screenless tablet. Some of the screenless ones come in like cool colors, so you can have like fun with picking one. Some of the biggest brands are like Huion and Wacom. I use a Huion. It's pretty good. It's a display. So now I have no experience with just the drawing tablets, but I'm sure they're really good too. So give Huion a try, maybe give Wacom a try if you want. There's also ones like XP Pen and stuff. There's a lot of drawing tablets out there, so do some research if you're interested and find what fits best for you. Art trades. Art trades are kind of like commissions, except the artist is paid by another artist with art instead of money. It's kind of like if you traded Pokemon cards or something, like give me Charizard and I'll give you Venusaur, except it's with art. So it's really cool, and it has nothing to do with NFTs. It's not like using art as money. It's trading. Art thieves. It's in the name. They steal art. What else do I need to say? Oftentimes they repost the art that they steal and claim that they made it, which is really scummy because then the people who poured hours of work into that piece do not get the credit they deserve. This is why you should really, really, really watermark your art just to be safe, because if an art thief takes your art and you don't have a watermark on it, you technically cannot prove that it's yours, which sucks. So yeah, watermark your art, watch out for art thieves. Doing art on the side. Lots of people would like to have a career as an artist, but since art doesn't always pay the best, well, some have to do it as more of a side hustle as opposed to a main job, which kind of stinks because art takes a lot of time and it doesn't pay well, which really stinks. So hopefully that changes in the future for artists and, we start getting maybe some more appreciation for our craft. Understanding of color. Intermediate artists tend to have a pretty good understanding of color theory. They're, it's not perfect, but their color selections tend to be a lot more appealing, or at the very least passable, compared to like a beginner. And a beginner can also be good at color too. It just depends. Color is kind of tricky, and sometimes it takes a lot of practice and studying, and sometimes it just comes natural. It just depends. 3D art. 3D art is art that is 3D. Shocking, I know. Anyways, lots of artists use Blender or other similar softwares to make 3D models similar to ones you might see used in video games or movies. It's really neat to that people can make that sort of thing. I've seen 3D art, and all the programs look really, really intimidating. So I don't know if I'll probably learn 3D art at some point. It'd be kind of cool, but right now it's very scary. Pixel art. Pixel art is art made in a similar style to old retro video games, like ones you might see on the NES or the SNES or whatever systems you use. It looks easy, but it's actually a lot harder than it looks. I've tried it a few times, and it's kind of hard because sometimes you're working with so few pixels that you have to really simplify, and sometimes that's really hard. So it's definitely its own sort of skill set to have. Next up, we have animation. There are a lot of styles of animation. There's 3D, 2D, pixel art, and probably a few others that I'm not thinking of. All the 3 types I mentioned tend to have slightly different procedures when it comes to making them. 3D art, you more have to rig the models and stuff, whereas 2D and pixel art, you might be doing it frame by frame. However, there are basic principles that apply to all forms of animation. There's squash and stretch. That is a good animation principle. Follow through. Animation's kind of tricky. I'd love to learn more about it and do more with it. Because it'd be cool to do animation on this channel. I mean, I've already done a few, but I'd like to get more into it. Self-taught. Lots of artists, myself included, are self-taught to some degree. It requires a lot of dedication and time and passion for the craft to teach yourself how to do it well. Or maybe you just learning and got a little out of hand, I guess. We don't judge here. We don't judge here. If you're a self-taught artist or, an artist who went to a university or did art school, whatever, it doesn't matter. We love, artists are awesome. You're all cool. Artists are cool. I love art and artists and stuff. The final entry on tier 2 is getting asked for free art. Whether it happens at school, home, online, wherever, pretty much all artists have probably experienced getting asked for free art. Unless you want to, the answer should probably be no. Because, art takes time, and it's your time, and you really deserve to get paid for your craft. So, if someone's asking for free art and they won't leave you alone, just be honest with them, saying, look, this takes a while to do. I don't want to do that. So, if you really want me to, maybe you'll give me some money. Because art takes time. Art takes a lot of time. So if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Put your foot down. Do not be a doormat. Alright, and the third and final tier is the professional tier. This tier will include a lot of, it's not complicated stuff. It's just talking about stuff that you tend to see more with professionals and people in the industry and whatnot. Let's get into this. Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. These 2 drawing softwares are probably the most well-known professional digital art software out there. Photoshop has been used in the art industry for decades, while Clip Studio Paint is a bit newer in the industry, despite its 21-year life. In recent years, more artists have transitioned over to Clip Studio Paint from Photoshop due to the high price of Adobe software such as Photoshop. Clip Studio Paint isn't the cheapest, but it's a lot more affordable than Photoshop, and you do have the option to do one-time purchases, which is a lot nicer, because Photoshop you have to pay like $30 a month for Creative Cloud, which is, yeah, you get access to a bunch of other Adobe stuff, but it's expensive, especially if you're only using a couple of those. So yeah, if you're looking for, if you're, getting into digital art on your laptop or PC, and you're looking for a software, I would say, and you're okay with spending money, I would say go for Clip Studio Paint Pro. You can get a full-time, like a license where you own the thing for like $60. That's what I ended up doing. You do miss out on a couple of features with the pro version of Clip Studio, but like it's not anything that unless you're doing like really long animations or stuff, you're not going to be missing out on a lot. And if you're doing really long animations, you probably just want to get animation, like dedicated animation software. But if you're looking for something free, there's a lot of free software out there, and there are plenty of good ones. I know that Krita and GIMP, I think, are some of the good ones. I've heard good things about Krita. I hope I'm saying that right. So yeah, just do research, look into some stuff, because there's a lot out there. Next up is mastery/strong understanding of fundamentals. Artists working in a more professional setting tend to have spent years and years and years practicing their craft, and the result is a really strong set of like skills. The art they create can be realistic, stylized, and done in a lot of different mediums. So even though they have these skills, like they still have to practice to keep themselves sharp, because even though you might be considered like a professional thing, doesn't mean you can't practice still. And you probably should practice, just like, what's a good example? Like if you get really good at a video game and then drop it for like a couple of years, you're probably not going to be super great at it the instant you jump back in. So it's something you have to keep practicing with and, keep your skills sharp, because otherwise you might get a little rusty. All right, professional social media accounts. A professional artist account is, professional. They have a large following, posting schedules, links to all their shops or whatever else they do. Like, if they have like other social media accounts like YouTube, they might have links to those. Actually, they definitely have links to those. Their account is very similar to that of like a business's account, where it's like all very clean and organized and well kept and, pretty cool stuff. It's different from a lot of the art. I'm done. I'm done talking. Merch. Like a lot of online creators, some artists have their own merch, like t-shirts or hoodies or hats or plushies or cups or pins or stickers, or I'm done now. Mastery of color. Once you understand how color works, you can do some really cool stuff with it. Like, stuff that is just visually stunning. Like, stuff that takes you for a ride with how, like, gorgeous it is. Seen I don't know what's a good example of, like, something that's really gorgeous in terms of color. Maybe I don't know if Into the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse is just, like, visually stunning in so many ways. I've never seen it, but I've seen, like, clips of it and kind of just its general art style, and it's very good looking. I probably should watch it. I probably should. Next up, we have sponsorships. There are a lot of art companies that, like, want artists to review their products, so they sponsor them. A lot of times this product is, like, markers, paint, pens, software, maybe even a drawing tablet. Pretty cool stuff, and I must say I would be totally down to review some art stuff if anyone wants to sponsor me. Next up, and oh, actually, this is the last one. Huh, that was fast. A lot faster than I thought. Anyways, next up, we have industry experience. A lot of artists you see online have worked for some of the big companies like Disney or DreamWorks, and some of a lot of ones you see are like video game developer, and some video game developers like Blizzard. Sometimes these veteran artists teach online classes or make tutorial videos. Mark Brunette, I think that's how I said his name. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But he worked at, I think it was Blizzard, and he posts weekly videos, weekly art class video type things. And I know he has his own art program, online art teaching program type thing. So that's pretty cool. And sometimes they just post, cool art. But either way, you are in for a good time. If you find one of these artists online, you should, keep up with their work. They're good teachers, good to learn from, because they've had a lot of experience in the industry. And with that said, we are done. Please know that I am not here to shame anyone or make anyone feel bad about, what their artist level is. If art makes you happy, you don't really need to worry about, pretty much anything I said. Just don't trace or steal art, because that's no good. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the little speed paint going on in the background. I really hope to post more videos soon, because I really crunched and actually got a video done, and it didn't take me months, so that's really cool. I hope you enjoyed this video again, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you later!